You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening, it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. And we are back on The Mountain Gardener. One of the beautiful things about having a studio right here at the garden center live is when someone really smart comes in, go, Bill, that was super interesting. You can't just train my staff. You got to share this with the entire audience. All of Northern Arizona should know about this. So Bill Jones, he is our Fertilome high yield. Basically, if it crawls, you want it dead. If it's a weed, you want it gone. If you want, if your plants are a little yellow, they aren't blooming as well, Bill's our go-to guy. So he teaches us so that we can teach you how to use the things that he sells. But he's our Fertilome guru or high yield guru. And the reason we like Bill and Fertilome is, well, he's a friend, and Fertilome is a co-op where a bunch of garden centers got together and we formed this company and we have control over it. Bill, you work for us, the independent garden centers, and you want what's best for all of us. And so Bill Jones, welcome to the Mountain Gardener.
Thanks for having me, Ken.
Yeah, you're welcome. So tell us, how long have you been in the industry and tell us about yourself. Why do you do this?
Everybody, we're kind of a strict fraternity that when you get in the garden industry, they never let you go.
That's true. Yeah.
You're kind of like, you're like a vampire. You got bit and now you're for the rest of your life, you're going to be in the garden industry.
Instead of vampires, I like to say this industry is where you put your roots down. And you just don't go anywhere else. Seems friendlier than I'm going to suck your jugular and make sure you never leave. No, it does seem like the same faces. The companies come and go, but the folks that work in this business stay. And so you've been doing this for how long?
You know what? My first job, I worked in a garden center 44 years ago.
Wow.
And the funny thing was, that's 45 years ago. The funny thing was, I was so afraid of the chemical aisle, or that because you could give somebody bad advice.
Oh, right.
And they could kill their grandmother's favorite rose bush, or you can give a bad advice about an insecticide and make the apple poisonous, like Snow White's apple.
Yeah.
And so I started listening and talking to the people there, and then you just don't forget this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so back then, the pesticides were a lot different than today.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that's been taken off the market because it was too persistent.
Yeah.
It stayed in the environment. Most of the stuff now in the Fertilome stuff that Waters carries is a lot eco-friendlier,
right,
than what it was.
Downright organic.
Yeah,
absolutely.
40 and 50 years ago.
Yeah, much safer for your pets, the birds, your husband. It's just safer for you. So it's just better. So absolutely. That's what I love about your products. And you come in, it is intimidating. You go up to that wall of death and decay at the boxer and go, I have no idea where to even start. We're trying to curate. So we know that tent caterpillars are going to come in. We know that grasshoppers will be. We know that aphids and bark beetle. We know the bugs that are in the gardens here. And so we're trying to pick your brain going, hey, Bill, what's the best thing to keep bark beetle or pinyon pine scale at bay? And you guide us through and you get us the right one. And sure enough, it works. Yes. And so we don't make mistakes. We can get it honed in just right.
And the advantage of your employees is that they aren't intimidated by that wall,
right?
Because you have trained them well. And so when the customer comes in, because if you go into a big box store, you've got somebody who last week was selling
plumbing,
PVC. Exactly. And this week, all of a sudden, he's going to give you advice on how to keep grasshoppers from coming, invading your yard and eating you out of, house and home.
Yeah. So what's your territory? Where do you cover? So you're in Arizona, California,
I go to New Mexico.
West,
Yeah, I've got New Mexico. I've got Arizona, I've got Southern Nevada and Southern California.
Gotcha. That's pretty big. And how many reps are out there? How many people does it take to cover a nation? Is it 12 or 10?
For Fertilome, they've got about 15 reps.
Is that it? Okay.
15
I have no idea.
reps.
Okay. Interesting. And the best part, what do you sell them? What's the number one thing you sell? Is it fertilizer, bug killers, disease stuff, weed preventers?
You know what? Weed preventers, really? And in an awful lot of markets, not so much Arizona, but people have lawns that get invaded with either crabgrass or dandelions. So the selective weed killers are a big market, and a lot of that, the old 2,4-D products, or what's called Trimec, which has also dicamba in with the 2,4-D. That is what it selectively does. It kills the weeds, but it ignores the grass. Because people don't want to kill it all. Otherwise, they can just pour gasoline on it, light it ablaze.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So for where lawns are grown, which is not northern Arizona, water's so expensive. It just if we do have lawns, they're postage stamped. They're little tiny things. We have rock lawns. So here we seem to sell more weed preventer. So your weed and grass stopper is what it's called on the label. It's a granular. You spread it across the rock lawn, and then it just keeps seed from germinating. Just keeps them out.
That blew in from last year, blew in from your neighbors. It keeps that going, and it's more effective in a low traffic area, because what this stuff does, the active ingredient puts down a vaporous layer like cellophane. And if the cellophane is disturbed, if you're trudging over it with golf shoes, it's not going to last as long. But if it's a low traffic area, it's good for upwards of an entire season. We
tell them put it down twice a year.
There you go.
Mainly because we get 2 waves of weeds. Right now, we're getting the cool season, the dandelions, that kind of stuff are coming up. And then we have a second when the monsoons hit. If you put it down right before the monsoons, that's when all the tumbleweeds, the goat head, the horehound, all the nasty weeds that, like when you walk, your dogs walk across the yard and they're limping because it's burr stuck into it keeps them all at bay. And so if you put it down twice a year, you will have no weeds or greatly reduced number of weeds, like 95, 97%, tiny amount. Yeah.
Absolutely.
One thing you could help us with, grasshoppers are a serious thing. And so we sell a product here called Turf Ranger. It sounds like it's for grass, but it's not.
No.
It's for keeping grasshoppers and scorpions and cutworms, things that crawl across the ground. It's made to keep them at bay. Can you explain, how do you use Turf Ranger? I can show them on camera.
Yeah, you know what?
This is what it looks like, but I wanted Bill to explain it. He explained it to our staff. I wanted to explain it to you all, so we're all smarter across northern. But grasshoppers are a serious problem here. How do they use this product?
You know what? What they do is they put it down as a barrier treatment.
Right.
And then you try to do it in the late afternoon and give it a gentle watering so that some will get into the soil right then. And because you do it in late afternoon when the sun's not so hot, if it dries too quickly, it doesn't last. It won't work for the immediate results.
The water activates it. Am I hearing that?
So water washes it off of the pellets, because the pellets they could be corn cobs, they could be just
a delivery device.
Yeah, it's a delivery device. Then when you wash it off and then it doesn't flash dry like it is if it was 100 degrees here, the flash drying just ruins the effect for the long term. It'll kill the bugs today, but it won't kill the bugs 3-4 months from now, which the stuff will do if you apply it correctly. So what we want you to do is apply it late afternoon, water it gently, or if you know it's going to rain, and then keep the pets off of it that night. Keep the pets locked up that night, just because when they're walking through it, they do like to lick their little feet and all that afterwards. And then after that, it's bonded to the
activate soil. It with the water. It goes down in the soil, then let it dry, and you're good to go with pets and birds and all that kind of stuff.
Is fine.
Super, super effective.
Yes.
At even the big grasshoppers. Some of them they're like, you need a shotgun. They're big as birds. They're ridiculous size. To the smaller ones that fly in, it keeps them all at bay.
Yes, it does.
And I sell Turf Ranger as a way to put it around the edge of your properties, down the driveway, put it out where that wild range across the way. They're coming in from there. If they cross that area, that 10-foot barrier, it's gonna get rid of them. So it's
like a moat.
It's like a moat.
You know, so you built your castle, and then you've got a moat, and then you've got the drawbridge. And
exactly.
But that's a good way to visualize how it's going to work for you.
Yeah.
And it does real well. Then after that, just a few bugs here or there, you could spot apply if you choose to, but you're not going to have the infestations.
Gotcha.
It's not going to be the disaster that it would be if you didn't have anything and they just come in just, lock, stock, and barrel.
That's super. Thank you. You've helped me figure this. I was telling folks to do it in the morning. I was doing it wrong. I apologize, folks. You do it in the afternoon, right before dusk. You activate it with water. You let it dry off, and you're good for the next months.
Yes.
To keep bugs at bay. Wow. Bill Jones, he is a super smart guy. He's our person for all the bug, weed, nutrient kind of stuff. He's our go-to. But Bill, I appreciate you being here. Waters Garden companion plants in May are Indian hawthorn, purple robe locust, Prescott sunshine geraniums, and vining akebia.
Akebia is a super vigorous vine with dangling fragrant flowers.
She proliferates up arbors, pergolas, fences, and stunning as a ground cover to retain hills.
One of the fastest growing evergreen vines you can plant in the gardens.
You'll only find the hardiest vines at Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. For a more fruitful garden, increased success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit watersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Waters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.